Hi there, and welcome to today's guidance webinar. Before I get started, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping and welcome you to this Neuro virtual classroom session. The feature we're going to use today is room chat. So if you want to go ahead and type in and let me know where you are joining me from today. I am in Pennsylvania, here in the US. So if you just want to type in where you're located, just so I know that you know how to use the room chat, because that's what we'll be using to communicate today. Ocean Springs, Mississippi, and Massachusetts. So we're all kind of sort of East Coast people. So it's actually afternoon for all of us. And you are very, very welcome. I'm happy to always present webinars to our students. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about post-high school plans that involve things other than a 2-year or 4-year college or university. So we know that earning a 2-year or 4-year college degree is not for every student, and that's for lots of different reasons, whether it's student loans and student loan debt, or some people just don't enjoy being a student. We know it's not a great path for everybody. But going into the workforce with only a high school diploma and no specific skill set, or without a trade, it may not set you up for financial success. So let's talk about some other ways that you can get job-related skills that won't put you into a lot of debt, and it won't involve taking courses that you're not interested in. Today's webinar is produced and developed by the guidance department. My name is Mrs. Morgan Dakota. I'm the lead school counselor in the guidance department. Our other counselors are Mrs. Krista Hoovler and Mrs. Amy Holmes. Mrs. Hoovler and I are the high school counselors, and Mrs. Holmes typically deals with our middle school students, but you can interact with any of the three of us. We assist students K through adult in all of our programs, and if you need to reach out and get in touch with us, the best way to do so is by emailing at guidance@keystonehighschool.com. So, do I really need to earn a 4-year college degree to have financial success? And the simple answer to this is no, of course not. There are plenty of high income earners who didn't go to college, and there are plenty of high paying industries that welcome non-college graduates. Many of us have heard of all the startup companies that have sprung up over the last 20 years. Those are the kinds of companies that might be more interested in a job seeker with a specific skill set than in a job seeker with just a generic 4-year college degree. You can also start your own business. Lots of our students are really good at social media. They're good at gaming. They could start up perhaps a social media marketing company without earning a college degree. And we know that you don't need to attend college to be an expert in a certain area. There are lots of certifications through online sites like Coursera or through Apple, things like that. You can earn those certifications and go on to be a very attractive candidate for lots and lots of jobs. So between professional and personal experience, along with using online resources, it can give you expertise in a field that a college degree can't give you. Some college degrees are actually, if you think about it, obsolete by the time the graduate gets into the job market, especially those in IT and in computer science. Programming courses that you would take as a freshman may be out of date by the time you get into the job market. It could be 4 or 5 years later. Then there's also the consideration of student debt. So we know this topic has been in the news a lot lately with student loan forgiveness, and whether or not you agree with the forgiveness program. I know I, for one, have seen lots of social media posts, and maybe you have too, from people who've been paying on loans for 10 years, 20 years, for decades, and still owe all the original principal. That interest just keeps building up and they can't ever get out from under it. So you don't have to go in all that debt. You don't need a 2-year or 4-year college degree to have financial success and to be able to get a job. I think we can all agree that high school graduates typically need further training after high school, And I'm going to talk about some ways you can get that training other than the college route. So you might have heard of an internship or an apprenticeship before, but you might not know exactly what it means. So they are a bit different. An internship is a work experience that is short-term, but it will provide the intern with an opportunity to work in an industry they're interested in or with a company that they're interested in. So interns gain experience by doing work related to their interests within a certain company. This opportunity may or may not be paid. Internships are typically related to accounting firms, finance firms, IT, technology, law firms, nonprofits. There may be a little bit of training, but typically it wouldn't be anything in a classroom. Most internships do take place in an office setting. Not all interns are high school or college students. Many are. I've known people that have, gotten out of high school, gotten out of college, and then done an internship, as opposed to an apprenticeship. So the apprenticeship program, that's a program that is going to be long-term rather than just months. Like an internship would be maybe 4 to 6 months. An apprenticeship would be years. They are typically paid. It's a combination of classroom training and hands-on work. And it's typically around a skilled trade, things like plumbing, steelworking, manufacturing, construction. So vast differences, but ways to get that post-high school training without going to college. So a little bit more about internships. Most people do equate an internship with being an active student, and you don't get paid for it, but you get credit. Most interns are students, but again, not all. I personally I mentor students at a college local to my area in Pennsylvania, and I know some students that have taken internships at companies they've wanted to work for, even though it's not paid and they no longer needed credit because they were a college graduate. They just wanted to get a foot in the door with that particular company. And it's a great way to do that. It's a great opportunity for students to make connections at a company, but it's also a great way to get experience. Some companies do pay their interns, but not all do. So that is definitely something to consider. And again, they only last a few months. So why would you want to do something like this rather than just get a job that's going to provide you with income? So again, maybe you want to try out an industry over the course of a couple months, or you want to get your foot in the door with an employer. So let's say that you graduate from Keystone and it's been your dream to always work at Walt Disney World in Florida. They actually have a Career Start internship program for high school graduates, and it provides a direct career pathway to get into the company. So it's a way to make those connections within a certain company or a certain industry and can often lead to a full-time job. So definite benefits to internships. How do you go about finding one? I had a senior Keystone student last spring who wanted to look for internships and apprenticeships in Chicago. He lived in Chicago and wanted to look in that area. And I just went to Indeed, which I know is a big job search site, just to see what they had. And Indeed came up with hundreds of both internship and apprenticeship opportunities in Chicago. So using websites out there, those job search websites like Indeed, definitely a great way to do that. We also have partnered with a company called Tallo, and our student success advisors, that's one of the teams here on the academic part of Keystone. They actually hold webinars each month about how to create your Tallo account and what the benefits are to creating that account. There's also a course in your online homeroom called the Keystone Guidance course. There's information in there on how to create a Tallo account and on the benefits of a Tallo account. Tallo is basically, if you've ever heard of the website LinkedIn, it's like a LinkedIn, but for students. And you create the account, you put in all your credentials, all your skills, your hobbies, your interests, your abilities, and then opportunities find you. So Tallo has partnered with companies, scholarship programs, employers, colleges, and you put your credentials in there and then opportunities find you. So it's a great website. We've also partnered with them because they never sell student data. They will never take your private student data and sell it to someone else so that you get inundated with text messages and emails. And that's student security is always very, very important to us at Keystone. So Tallo is a great way to find an internship, looking on sites like Indeed. And there's also internships.com. That's another one that I've vetted and have recommended to students, and they've had some luck with that one as well. So apprenticeships, let's take a deeper dive. A great way to transition from high school into the world of work. An apprenticeship program can give you a career pathway right into industry. It allows the employer to develop their workforce, and it gives you as an individual the skills that you need, paid on the job training and classroom instruction to learn the trade or skill. So again, things like manufacturing, steelworking, plumbing, HVAC, all of those skilled trades, construction, a great way to learn those skills without actually having to go to school to do it. You're going to be doing some classroom work, but you're also going to be right out in the field, completing the work and gaining those skills. Some apprenticeship programs will give you academic credit so that if you do want to go on to college, you will be able to use that credit towards a degree. It also connects you with senior employees in whatever field you want to go into. They can mentor you and help you advance in your career. It gives you networking options, things that you have to think about after school when you're in the adult world and things like that. So apprenticeships, I think this is a great way for students who are not necessarily college bound to get more training and also get paid for it. So if you want to become an apprentice, how do you do so? Again, Indeed.com shows up just like it did for the internships. Apprenticeship.gov, I went on there. They had a great statistic. 93% of apprentices who complete an apprenticeship program keep their job. So they are then offered full-time employment, and set the average salary of apprentices after leaving a program is $77,000. So a great return on investment. You're getting paid, you're investing a couple years of your time to learn this trade or skill, and you come out with close to a six-figure salary a couple years out of high school. So we all know that there are lots of people, the baby boomers are retiring, Generation X is going to start retiring. Those people in the skilled trades, we need to start replacing them. So this is a great way to get those skills and get into those jobs. Something else that you can consider after high school is a gap year. Does anybody know what a gap year is? If you know what a gap year is, you can type it in the room chat. When I was in high school, I did not know what a gap year was. I had no idea. No idea. Good. Well, I'm in good company then. So a gap year is time that you take between graduating high school and then entering some kind of training, military, workforce. So students use a gap year. They can travel, they can volunteer, they could do an internship, they could, community service, anything like that. It's really nothing specific. It's just kind of a break between school and that next step. Very, very popular in the EU, in South America, other parts of the world, not so popular here in North America, but very commonplace elsewhere. So the pros of taking a gap year, you can, get work experience, do that internship for a short period of time, take a job that you know is only going to be a short period of time, travel if you have time, explore opportunities, gain skills, network. You could do the Peace Corps, something like that. Exactly. You're taking a break from formal work, like a job that you're going to have for years. It's kind of like this short time finding yourself experience. There are pros. Again, you're gaining experience, you're recharging, taking a break, earn some extra money. There are some cons. It Might be hard to transition back to full-time school or full-time job. You might lose some momentum. It could be expensive. It does require planning. And you may feel like you are lagging behind your peer group a little bit. I know that's a common theme, especially through COVID with our students here at Keystone, people worrying about falling behind their peer group. So let me just tell you that you have a really, really, really long time, decades and decades. Life expectancy for high school students now has got to be close to 100 years old. So you have a very, very long time to be an adult and to be in the world of work. So if you are thinking about something like a gap year and you want to talk with the adults in your life about that, or you want to talk with me or one of the other counselors about that, I think it's a great opportunity if that's something, say you want to explore art, travel, learn languages, something like that, and it's something that you could fund maybe through part-time work. I think it would be a great opportunity to do that. You just never know what life is going to throw at you. And if you have the time to do it and you have the interest, I would say go for it. And it's definitely something that we can talk around. So military service, not for everybody. I would have made throughout my life not a great candidate for military service. However, you can get on the job training in the military. You can get your college and other education paid for. There are many jobs in the military that you can be trained for that you can easily then find a job in civilian life. So let's talk a little bit about it and a little bit about the benefits of military service. So military pay is competitive with pay in the civilian sector. You get a guaranteed paycheck. There are cash bonuses, just like you would find in the private sector. There are great educational benefits. Active duty military members have guaranteed pay with cost of living adjustments. That's not something that everybody has. I don't have guaranteed cost of living adjustments, and inflation is very high right now. So that's great for military members. They also have a housing allowance. If you don't want to be full-time active military, there are military reserves you can join, things like the National Guard. You serve part-time, but you get many of the same benefits. And the longer you serve, the more you can earn and the more benefits you can get. There are also enlistment bonuses available. They vary by the different branches of the military, but you can get a bonus just for signing up, something that you may have, wanted to do anyway. There's something called the GI Bill available to military members. This is going to pay full tuition at public colleges and universities in the US. And if you go to a private college or university, they'll pay partial tuition. You can use the GI Bill to pay for tech schools, trade schools, licensing programs. Not all military jobs have a private sector equivalent. So if you're working on something in the military that doesn't have a private sector equivalent, you can come out, get more training to do a job here in the private sector, and that would be paid for with your military benefits. There are also home loan programs through the VA, the Veterans Administration, where you get discounts on mortgages. You can get small business loans for being a military member. Not to say anything about the skills, leadership, and training. So lots and lots of benefits to joining the military. Again, not for everybody. You could be deployed into active military action at any time if you are active. But if you think military service could be for you, you can reach out and I can help you if you have any questions to a recruiter in your local area. So if you need any help around that, I and the other school counselors can help you. So just a very broad strokes, post-high school plans other than four-year, two-year colleges. Does anybody have any questions about the information that I reviewed, or any questions in generally, just about creating a post-high school plan and getting assistance with that? Yes, in college you can be undecided, but not so with apprenticeships. You know what? That's a really good question. So how to test drive an apprenticeship experience. I'm sure that might be something you would be able to do, and I'll tell you why I think that. So again, the baby boomer generation and Generation X, so people born in the 50s, 60s, 70s, they're going to all be retirement age or are at retirement age very soon. And that was a huge bubble, in our population. Since then, the population here in the US has fallen. So Generation X, the millennials, not as many people as in the baby boomer and Generation Y rather, and the millennials, not as many people as in the baby boomer generation and Generation X. So we need people to get these skills and take these jobs so that we have people to, fix plumbing and do construction and do repairs on things. So I would think if you thought there was something you wanted to do and we found an apprenticeship program for you, there would be a way for you to test drive it, try it out, um, you know, see if that's for you. Because I know all of the trades, we get lots of email in the guidance department from colleges and universities and trade schools and things like that. And they are, especially in the trades, they are desperate for qualified candidates, students who can read, write, and do math to go into these programs. And the salaries are quite high. So I am very, very encouraged by what I'm seeing as far as opportunities for our students who don't feel that they're a traditional 4-year college bound student. So if Ralph, if you want to reach out to me or the other school counselors, like we can work with you to get you in touch with apprenticeships in your local area to see if you could test something out. When I was a high school counselor here in Pennsylvania in a brick and mortar high school, we actually had different trade unions, or not trade unions rather, well, but union, we'd have the bricklayers union come in, we'd have the plumbing union, we'd have the AFL-CIO come in, and they would actually work with students in part of the building, like in the gymnasium or something during a day. And I know we had like bricklayers come in and they were helping students build cinder block walls just to see if that was something they'd be interested in doing. And then the union members would try to sign them up for the apprenticeship programs. So I'm not sure if that's something that we could find in your area, but we could definitely have facilitate a conversation between you and different trade organizations and apprenticeship organizations in your area. So that's probably more of an answer than you bargained for, but I would think we can get you the ability, a way to test drive what you want to do, almost like a job shadow kind of a thing. Does anybody else have any questions? I will have a recording of today's webinar, so you can email me at guidance@keystonehighschool.com. If you want to review it again, it'll also be in the Keystone Guidance course, which should be in your online homeroom. Every student in grades 6 through 12 had the Keystone Guidance course. There are no assignments in the course. It's not, you earn no credit for reviewing it. We just provide it so that you have 24/7 access to school counseling information on demand if you need it. So thank you very much for attending today. Tomorrow we're having a webinar about our Acadium dual enrollment program. That's in this classroom, same classroom at 2:00 tomorrow. We also have our mental health live session at 2:00 on Thursday. That is in a different room. I can send you the link to that. That's where the school counselors and I meet with just students who want to show up and ask questions around mental health if they're having struggles with anxiety or stress, bullying, friendship issues. And we basically just run like a low-key group therapy session, with the students and school counselors. That's at 2 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. So thank you very much for attending today. Again, any questions, comments, concerns, email me at guidance@keystonehighschool.com.